Hello, I'm Eve Jackson in Paris. Coming up on today's show, it's Cannes countdown time. A star-studded lineup is announced with the likes of Woody Allen, Cate Blanchett, Nathalie Portman and Michael Caine among the talent expected in the south of France next month. He had a vision of ballet as a 20th century art form that would be as popular as cinema. Nearly a decade after his death, Maurice Béjart's Ballet for Life is back on stage. And after being overlooked and underestimated for decades, the work of the Ivory Coast's master sculptors is on show here in Paris. And our film critic Lisa Nesselson is here to tell us more about the Cannes Film Festival lineup that's just been announced. What are the highlights this year?
Well, you know, I love this time of year because everything is just on paper and everything sounds potentially marvelous. Some of my favorites are in here for people who like challenges. There are two directors who have already won the top prize, the Palme d'Or, so they could, if they want a second time, join a very small club of 6 or 7 people who've got 2 of them. That would be Gus Van Sant with The Sea of Trees, which I'm told is about a place in Japan where people can go if they want to commit suicide, but in the best possible way, whatever that means. Right. And also Nanni Moretti is back with an Italian film. There are movies by women. There is one first film from Hungary, and that happens to be the only film that will be shown on 35 millimeters so far. It's a disciple of the director Bela Tar, and the festival still, when they send an invitation, they tell you that you can bring it digitally or you can bring it on celluloid, reels under your arms, and in all the projection booths, including on the beach at night for the evening screenings under the moonlight. You can bring a real film if you want.
And apparently it's the first time Hungary will have a film in the competition. In the press conference as well, they said it was going to be a beautiful year for French film. What do they mean?
Well, the problem is they have between 18 and 24 movies in the competition, and they can't let French ones overwhelm them. So there are 4 this year, and the opening film is a French film, but it is not in competition. And they admitted that they could have had 7 if, you know, they picked all the ones they liked. So we have some known names like Jacques Audiard, Stéphane Brisé, his first time in competition with The Law of the Market, Valérie Donzelli for Marguerite and Julien, and May Wen is back with My King, Mon Roi.
There's only 2 American films in competition. One of them you're very much looking forward to.
I actually cheered quietly in my seat. Todd Haynes, the American independent director, has made it in with his adaptation of Carol, which was the second novel by Patricia Highsmith, known for her mysteries and her intrigues. She invented the character of the talented Mr. Ripley, and she wrote this novel under a pseudonym because it came out in the late 50s, I believe, and it's a lesbian love story, very frank, in the New York City of the late 1950s, and it stars Cate Blanchett and Rooney Mara, and Todd Haynes is one of the people carrying on the tradition of the woman's picture, the sort of weepy, and he did an amazing 4-part mini-series of Mildred Pierce with Kate Winslet that was unbelievably good. So I am really looking forward to this.
You've just finished the book?
Recently, yes, and it's stunningly contemporary, even though it was written decades and decades ago, and it's got a very sort of 2 women who are very interested in each other sexually, emotionally. Big deal.
Okay, well, I'm excited because Michael Caine is starring in a film that's called Youth. I would love to interview Michael Caine. Well, it's one of 3 Italian films in the competition. We've got the trailer. Take a look.
Just your love, just your voice, just your voice, and my fingers, and my beloved, just your beloved.
Okay, well, there's also a Woody Allen film. It's called Irrational Man with Joaquin Phoenix and Emma Stone. He's not in competition. He never goes in competition. He doesn't like it, does he?
No, in fact, Thierry Frémaux, the head programmer, said he got Woody Allen on the phone and said, you know, so you wouldn't consider letting us put it in competition, would you? And he said he actually snorted and chortled and sort of not on your life on the other end of the phone.
And there's the new Mad Max film with Tom Hardy taking over from Mel Gibson. That's the sequel. It looks like there's a lot of star power this year. I know that's not not your #1 favourite thing, but...
Indeed, they read off a list at the end of famous people who will be gracing the red carpeted steps, and some of them are even behind the camera. For example, Nathalie Portman has directed her first motion picture.
Well, Lisa, we're very much looking forward to it, aren't we? The festival runs from the 13th of May until the 24th, and we'll be there with updates every day, Lisa and I, and the prize winners will be chosen, of course, by a jury led by the Caine brothers. To other arts news now, and 8 years after the death of French choreographer Maurice Béjart, his company, the Ballet Lausanne, is back on stage with its latest version of the Ballet for Life. On a backdrop of Queen and Mozart soundtracks, 40 dancers will be touring France this month. Julia Sega has this report.
When this song by Queen first came out, it instantly became a world hit. 30 years later, it hasn't aged one bit, especially when the Béjart company infuses it with its energy. Béjart's Ballet for Life is a tribute to Freddie Mercury, the lead singer of Queen, but also to other artists who died young. It's a joyful ballet about love, life, and death that is neither sinister nor defeatist. That was in 1997.
Today, the choreography is the same. What's different is, well, the dancers and how they interpret it and digest the routine. That's what changes. And even if the story of the ballet is sad, Maurice wanted to transmit the desire to live.
We need to think about the future, about the youth. Life goes on and must go on. We need to think about the people that are alive.
The corps de ballet is composed of dancers from 22 different countries, capable of dancing to classical, pop, and rock beats. A breathtaking experience.
When we switch from one style to another, it's a lot of fun. We're never bored because the rhythm of the choreography changes.
I cried. It was very moving.
Emotions are indeed running high, especially when the death of George Dunn, an incredible dancer who also died of AIDS, is brought up. Since its creation, Maurice Béjart's Ballet for Life has been performed more than 350 times throughout the world.
And that tour goes on until the end of April. Now, they are long considered in the West as simple craftspeople, but a new exhibition in Paris is putting the master sculptors of West Africa in the spotlight. The Musée du Quai Branly is showcasing the greatest works in masters of sculpture from Ivory Coast. Nicolas Jamin reports.
For a long time in the West, African art was considered as a craft used for rituals. The aim of this exhibition at the Quai Branly Museum was to find the identities of those who sculpted these masterpieces. 330 works of art, mostly from Ivory Coast. All of them were made in the 19th and 20th centuries.
The aim is really to present the creator of the work of art, rather than to present the work's function, which is what traditional ethnography does.
This exhibition shows the techniques used by different ethnic groups, the Senufo, Lobi, Gouro, Dan and Baoulé. The Ivorian culture minister stressed that these sculptures come from museums worldwide.
African art is renowned, but it must not only be linked to the mystical world. We need to realize that it is art, the work of geniuses.
In the last room, visitors are shown the work of contemporary African artists like James Robert Kokobi. They were inspired by the art of past masters.
The difference is that today no one imposes the themes we work on. It's more open. But our work is based on history and what these sculptors did. So there is a continuous link between them and us.
The work of contemporary African artists Émile Guébéi, Nicolas Damas and Kofi Kwaku is also presented here. This exhibition at the Quai Branly Museum in Paris runs until the 26th of July.
And that's it from us. We'll leave you with music from the great soul singer Percy Sledge, who passed away this week. He was 74. Remember our website. We're also on Twitter and Facebook. There's more news coming up on France 24 after this.
He'll change the world for the good thing.